The old lady is a stranger on paper. If you want to touch the baby, pay up $60,000 a pop, Miranda said as she reached out. Sean and I were taken aback. Indeed, Miranda and I are strangers in terms of legal documents. But to the world, we're family. It's time for me to stand up and speak out as a mother. Just as I thought that, Sean muttered softly. Shall we go home? Hearing this, all the strength left my body. I felt ashamed for getting angry at a child. I took a deep breath and turned to Sean. Then gave a small nod. Yeah. We then headed towards the entrance. I've always raised Miranda as if she were my own daughter. But it seems she didn't feel the same. If that's how she feels, I have my own thoughts too. I'll just treat her as a stranger as well. She's an adult now, so it's okay to push her away, right? It'll probably be better for both of us. But as your mother, there's one last thing I want to teach you. It's about regret and reflection. Make sure you regret and reflect, because I'll get even. This is your birth gift from me, now that you've become a mother. Thinking this, we left Miranda's house. My name is Kelly Martin. I'm a 43-year-old part-time employee at an insurance company. Currently, I live with my husband Sean, who works at a bank. Until a little while ago, our daughter Miranda was also living with us. It's in the past tense, but it's not a sad story. Miranda just got married and moved out. Miranda got married a year ago. Honestly, I was relieved. Sure, the house does feel too quiet with just Sean and me. But Miranda and I were never close. That's why I felt relieved when she got married. Would I have felt differently if we were biologically related? I've found myself thinking more about this since Miranda left. The truth is, Miranda and I aren't biologically related. She's Sean's daughter from another relationship. However, from the moment we met, I've raised Miranda as my own child. Sean acknowledges this, but I don't know what Miranda thinks. Even if Miranda doesn't recognize me as her mother, I intend to be just that. I wonder if Miranda will understand my feelings now that she's becoming a mother herself. Miranda is pregnant and will soon have a child. Our relationship might get better from here on. Right now, I'm holding on to that hope, eagerly awaiting the birth of my first grandchild. I met Miranda when she was in middle school. Back then, I was working at an insurance company. My department was customer service, handling calls. As you might guess, not just in insurance companies but in many places, operators are mostly women. Of course, that was the case at my company. Surrounded by women, there were hardly any men. Without any romantic prospects, I just kept getting older. Eventually, after turning 30, I started to be called an old maid. I want to quit my job. I've thought about that many times. That's when a colleague invited me to a mixer. Probably, they wanted me to play a supporting role. Still, hoping for a chance at meeting someone, I happily agreed to be that supporting role. And there, playing a similar role, was Sean. We hit it off immediately and started dating. After a while, Sean told me. Actually, I'm divorced. You mean you have a history of divorce? Are you having issues with your ex-wife? No, there's no trouble. That's when I first learned that Sean had a daughter. Moreover, she was in middle school. So, she might oppose our marriage. Anyway, let's meet her. Middle school is a very impressionable age. It's understandable that Sean was worried. But you can't know until you actually meet and talk. Especially girls mature quickly. She might understand. With that hope, I decided to meet Sean's daughter. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Miranda, his daughter. My first impression was that she was a bright and energetic girl. She seemed very mature and straightforward. I'm Kelly, dating Sean. Oh, you seem calm. Are you going to marry my dad? Miranda asked Sean straightforwardly. Sean nodded a bit hesitantly. I'd like to, but wouldn't you mind, Miranda? Why would I? I'm not a kid anymore, let Dad do what he wants. Hearing this, I was relieved. Sean seemed to feel the same, a sense of relief was visible. Then, Sean said he was going to the restroom and left the table. Suddenly, Miranda leaned in. Kelly, right? What about your job? After getting married, I plan to work part-time. Sean's not good with household chores, so I'll have to do them. Ah, I get it. Dad can't do anything around the house. Miranda said, chuckling. I couldn't help but smile too. She seemed like such a straightforward and adorable girl. This might just work out. Just when I thought so, Miranda showed her true colors. But Dad has poor taste. If he was gonna remarry, he could have chosen someone younger and prettier. Huh? Did I hear that right? As I wondered, Miranda continued with a laugh. You're probably after his money, but too bad. Despite being a banker, Dad doesn't make much at all. It's not about the money. So, you settled? Because you're not that pretty and seem like you'd have no luck with men, Kelly. Miranda burst out laughing. I was speechless. So this was her true nature. She's nothing like Sean. But since she's going to be my daughter, I have to scold her properly. However, I had no experience with this and didn't know what to do. As I was puzzling over this, Sean came back. And the conversation dropped. In the end, my first meeting with Miranda ended with her saying whatever she wanted. I couldn't build a relationship with Miranda after that. Eventually, Sean proposed to me. I was happy about it, and I was sure Sean would make a good husband. The problem was my relationship with Miranda. Well, I could gradually build a relationship with Miranda. If I, as her mother, stand firm, everything will be all right. With that thought, I accepted Sean's proposal. Also, my job changed from a full-time employee to a part-time employee. And from an operator to an insurance salesperson. Sean and I got married, but things turned out to be much harder than I thought. Miranda, now a middle schooler, was right in the midst of her rebellious phase. She wouldn't listen to a word I said, let alone Sean's. Moreover, Miranda's personality was not exactly pleasant to begin with. She would talk back while wheedling for allowance in a sweet voice. No wasting money. Huh? Living off Dad's money and you lecture me? It's not a lecture. Shut up. You're not my mom, so you don't have the right to complain about what I do. I was silenced by Miranda's words. Indeed, I am not her mother. But I've been trying to be one. That's why I scolded her, thinking of her as my own child. Yet, it seemed my efforts didn't reach Miranda. When I sighed, Miranda got irritated. Fine. I'll just get it from Dad. Slam. Miranda stormed out, closing the door with a bang. Watching her, I could only sigh. Raising a child is this challenging. I can only be grateful to my own mother. Now, I reflect on my own actions when I was younger. But that was also a consolation. Maybe Miranda will feel the same when she becomes a parent. If that happens, my efforts would not have been in vain. Now is the time to be patient. Anyway, I kept encouraging myself while getting on with daily life. When Miranda became a high school student, her spending got even worse. Whenever Sean and I would caution her, Miranda invariably responded, I have to keep up with my friends. Do you want me to be left out? Faced with that, we were left speechless. After much thought, I suggested Miranda get a job. If you want allowance, earn it yourself. Huh? If I get a job, I won't have any time to hang out. Then, you'll have to stop wasting money. You're getting a basic allowance every month, aren't you? Miranda bristled at my words. A woman leeching off someone else's home has no right to lecture me. I should have opposed the marriage. Miranda stomped out. And locked herself in her room. I thought it best to leave her alone for a while. But there was no sign of her coming out. Concerned, I tried speaking to her after a bit. However, there was no response from Miranda. Since that day, she stopped speaking to us. This continued even after she graduated from high school. We grew increasingly worried. Hey, are we just going to leave her like this? Well, we can't just ignore this situation. After graduating high school, Miranda didn't pursue further studies. That's why I was scolding her. If you're not going to study further, you need to get a job. What? Don't butt into my life. But, I am your mother. I was cut off by Miranda suddenly raising her voice. Don't act like you're my mom. You're a stranger. I was left speechless by Miranda's words. Miranda continued with a harsh look. I'll get a job, okay? I plan to marry my boyfriend soon anyway. Boyfriend? Marriage? Yes. Unlike you, I'm cute, so I have my pick of guys. With a snort, Miranda made her feelings clear. I was so astounded I couldn't say a word. Of course, I wouldn't oppose the relationship. If it's serious, I'd even support marriage. But the other party might not be as serious. Especially at a young age, things can be complicated. The person Miranda is seeing might not intend to marry her and could just be considering her as a casual partner. Considering this, I discussed the matter with Sean. We should ask her to bring her partner over. Yeah, let's do that. That's how we agreed to proceed. And so, we informed Miranda of our decision. Reluctantly, but promptly, Miranda brought her partner over. Or rather, it seemed more like her partner was eager to meet us. Anyway, on a certain Sunday, we were set to meet Miranda's boyfriend. I apologize for the late introduction. My name is Tom, and I am dating Miranda. Tom, Miranda's boyfriend, seemed like a very sincere person. He could be dating someone nicer. Honestly, that's what I thought. But it seemed Tom had his heart set on Miranda. I work as a full-time employee. So, please allow me to marry Miranda. What was supposed to be just a meeting to get to know him turned into a marriage proposal. But, given the situation, we couldn't just pretend it didn't happen. Luckily, Tom worked for a well-known local company. They wouldn't be unhappy, at the very least. Kelly, what do you think about him? He seems sincere and like a good person. I see. Yeah, that makes sense. In the end, we agreed to their marriage right there and then. I think Miranda has her issues. But if Tom says it's good, then it's not our place to interfere. So, Miranda married Tom and moved out of our house. That was a year ago. Not long after, I got a call from Miranda. I'm pregnant. Really? Congratulations. When is the baby due? Way off. But you're gonna give me a celebration gift, right? I'm thinking, like, $10,000 or maybe $20,000. Miranda always talks about money. I was just astounded. Still, the thought of a grandchild filled me with indescribable joy. Once the baby is born, we'll definitely give a proper celebration gift, so just calm down. You promise? It's a must. While grimacing at Miranda's insistence, I managed to end the call. A few months later, Miranda gave birth to a boy safely. I went to visit Miranda with a celebration gift as promised. However, since it was right after the birth, Miranda refused to see me. I handed the gift to Tom, who was with me, and asked him to tell her I'd visit later. About 10 days later, Miranda contacted us to say she had been discharged. So, we went to visit Miranda. Unfortunately, Tom was at work and couldn't be there. Still eager to see my grandson, I entered Miranda's house. I was led to the living room, where a baby boy was sleeping in a crib in the corner. Oh, he's absolutely adorable. Of course, he's my child, Miranda said, puffing out her chest. May I hold him? I reached out towards the baby. At that moment, Miranda slapped my hand away. You're a stranger in legal terms, old lady. If you want to touch the baby, pay $6,000 per touch. As Miranda reached out with those words, Sean and I were stunned. Indeed, on paper, Miranda and I are strangers. But to the world, we are mother and daughter. I thought to myself, it's time to stand up as a mother. Just as I was thinking this, Sean muttered softly, Shall we go? The moment I heard those words, all my strength left me. I felt ashamed for getting angry at a child. I took a deep breath and turned towards Sean. Then gave a small nod. Yeah. We then headed towards the entrance. I've always raised Miranda thinking of her as my own daughter. But it seems she didn't feel the same way. If that's how she feels, then I have my own thoughts too. I'll just treat her as a stranger as well. She's an adult now, so it's okay to let go, right? It'll probably be better for both of us. But as your mother, there's one last thing I want to teach you. It's about regret and reflection. Make sure you regret and reflect because I'll get even. This is your birth gift from me, now that you've become a mother. Thinking this, we left Miranda's house. On the way home in Sean's car, I decided to share my feelings with him. You know, about Miranda. Up to now, I've indulged Miranda, treating her as my daughter. But since she's treated me as a stranger, I'll be stricter from now on. I might even treat Miranda as a stranger myself. I shared these thoughts with Sean. Sean nodded with a stern look. It's probably my fault for the way I raised her. I think I was too lenient as well. So, let's be strict from today onwards. Right. With that kind of attitude, she won't understand unless we're strict. This is how we confirmed our agreement. And so, we decided to be strict with Miranda. We started by not contacting Miranda. Next, we ignored any attempts from Miranda to contact us. Eventually, an irritated Miranda showed up at our house. "Hey! I know you're in there. Open up!" Miranda shouted from the front porch. Fortunately, she didn't bring the child. So, Sean and I decided to continue ignoring her. If it was just Miranda, whatever she did wouldn't matter much. Soon, Miranda raised her voice at the intercom. "Hurry up and open up! Give me the money! I'm in trouble because I don't have any money!" I was startled for a moment. It would be serious if something had happened to the child. I was about to get up instinctively. But Sean stopped me. "That's a lie. She just wants money for herself. How can you be so sure?" Sean explained the situation. It happened a few days ago. Sean had met Tom at the bank where he works. Tom had happened to come to the bank for work. Tom told Sean that Miranda's spending was out of control and causing problems. Moreover, Miranda wanted to buy new clothes for an upcoming reunion. But with a new baby just born, they were in a tight spot financially. Tom had asked Miranda to be patient this time. Frustrated, Miranda stormed out of the house. Tom had thought she had given up. But in reality, she just went to Tom's parents' house. There, she begged her in-laws for money. She did that? Our girl? Well, it seems his parents turned her down, so she must have come to our place as a last resort. Sean said with a look of disbelief. I was deep in thought. Whether that story was true or not, I couldn't tell. Just as I was pondering this, Miranda's voice came through again. "I need money for new clothes. I'll make it carrying the baby $4,000 a time." Instantly, I felt embarrassed about how seriously I had taken the situation just minutes before. No more playing nice, it was time for a firm stance. I reconsidered and took the intercom in hand. "Enough is enough. You're disturbing the neighborhood." "Fine, I'll make it $2,000, no, $1,000 per hold." "It's not about the money. Go home." As I hung up the intercom, Miranda's loud voice could be heard from outside. "Fine, have it your way. You'll remember this." After that, Miranda's voice was no longer heard. It seemed she had finally given up. I was relieved. Since then, there has been no contact from Miranda. Maybe she learned her lesson. That's what I thought. Then, one day, as an insurance salesperson, I was visiting a certain company. The meeting had gone smoothly, and I was exchanging goodbyes with the contact person. I heard someone call me from behind. Turning around, there was Tom. "Oh, Tom. Are you here for work?" "Mother-in-law, are you okay? Working while you're supposed to be?" "What do you mean?" "I heard you were hospitalized." The conversation didn't make sense to me. I decided to move to a different spot to hear Tom's story. According to Tom, a few days ago, when he got home, Miranda told him that her mother was hospitalized and she needed to stay at the hospital for a while. She wouldn't be able to come home, so she asked if their child could stay with his parents. Hearing this, Tom panicked and asked his parents to take care of the child. He also gave Miranda some money and urged her to go back to her parents' house right away. Could that be a lie from Miranda? It seems so. If that's the case, where is Miranda now and what is she doing after leaving the child with Tom's parents? I had a rough idea but didn't say it out loud. Then, I suggested to Tom, maybe it's time to investigate Miranda's behavior. Yes, but I want to hear her reasons first. Tom is too lenient. But, that was us until just the other day. So, I decided to support Tom. The marriage is already failing the moment she lied. For your own sake, it's time to consider divorce. I guess so. Tom reluctantly agreed. I smirked to myself. Without needing to take revenge, Miranda had dug her own grave. There's no way I couldn't be pleased. I decided to take this as a starting point for my revenge. After splitting with Tom, I went back to my work. I hurried to finish my task so I could head home quickly. Shortly after I got home, Sean also returned. I immediately told him about Miranda. So, that's what happened. What? So Miranda lied and went out? It seems so. Why would she do such a thing? Could it be an affair? Sean asked cautiously. I nodded slightly. Probably, I think so. What is she thinking? Sean sighed. A feeling I understood all too well. Lying and having an affair is not uncommon. But Miranda has only been married for a year. They just had a baby, arguably the happiest time in a marriage. If she's having an affair now, it must have been going on even before the marriage. I have my pick of guys. Miranda's words flashed through my mind. If that wasn't just bravado, it wouldn't be surprising if she was dating multiple people at once. As we were pondering this, the doorbell rang unexpectedly. Without thinking much of it, I opened the door, and there stood Miranda. You've really done it now. Miranda started off with a raised voice. I replied with a sigh. I haven't done anything. The one who did something is you. Shut up. You're the one who said unnecessary things to Tom. Miranda started making a scene at the front door. It looks bad to have the same argument over and over again. For now, I let Miranda into the house and guided her to the living room. As soon as Miranda entered, she pointed at me and raised her voice again. This is all your fault. Now I might have to get a divorce. Calm down. What happened? Quiet. I am calm. Despite raising her voice, Miranda began to explain the situation. It happened a few hours ago. When Miranda finally came home, Tom had asked her if meeting me during the day and the story about her mother being hospitalized were lies. Naturally, Miranda hadn't even imagined such a scenario and started to make confused excuses. But nothing she said added up. In the end, Miranda confessed she had gone on a trip. Just going on a trip wouldn't have been a big deal. The problem was who she went with. When pressed, Miranda tried to dodge the question. However, after checking photos on her smartphone, it was over. In the photos, a man Tom knew well, one of his colleagues, was smiling alongside Miranda. Caught with evidence, Miranda couldn't make excuses and admitted to lying about going on a trip with another man. As a result, Tom told her they should get a divorce, and that's why she came to complain to me. You reap what you sow. Shut up. It's not my fault. If you hadn't been there, he wouldn't have found out. Blaming someone else has its limits. I looked away and sighed. I'll demand compensation from you. That's impossible. I haven't done anything. Just you wait. I'll see you in court. Miranda declared unilaterally and left the house. All Sean and I could do was sigh. I'm really sorry. It can't be helped. If it's impossible, Miranda will eventually give up. No one would take such a story seriously. But Miranda wasn't the kind of woman to give up easily. Especially when it came to money, her obsession was unmatched. As proof, Miranda started fixating on me a few days ago. My smartphone was bombarded with emails from her like she was possessed. She also called me multiple times. When I ignored everything and put her on call block, Miranda began showing up at my workplace. Let that woman out. She would cause a scene at the reception every day. Eventually, both my company and I were at our wits' end. I couldn't keep causing trouble for my workplace. Besides, we could live on Sean's income alone. With that in mind, I made the bold decision to resign from my job. Yet, Miranda continued to cling to me. Fed up, I arranged for a meeting with Miranda at the law firm I had hired. In the presence of a lawyer, I told Miranda, I'm going to demand compensation from you. Huh? What are you talking about? I haven't done anything. You've been sending me countless emails and made such a scene at my company that I had no choice but to resign. I explained calmly, watching as Miranda began to retort sharply. So what? I haven't done anything wrong. Say whatever you want. It doesn't change the fact that I'm suing you. Huh? You're suing your own child? Is that what a parent does? Miranda stood up, agitated. In contrast, I answered calmly. You told me, remember? Legally, we're strangers. So, you're suing over that? Fine. Do whatever you want. I will. Just so you know, I'll get you divorced. living alone at your age must be hard, huh? Laughing, Miranda left the law firm on her own. She still doesn't seem to understand the situation. Miranda, you no longer have any allies. As Miranda left, I watched her back and muttered that to myself in my heart. A few days later, Tom called. He said he wanted to meet with Sean and me because he had something to discuss. Given everything with Miranda, it was clear we needed to have this conversation. So, I agreed to meet Tom at our house. However, it wasn't just Tom who showed up. Why is Miranda here? I'm sorry. I brought her with me. Perhaps the divorce had been finalized. That's what I thought as I let them into the house. In the heavy atmosphere, Tom was the first to speak. Naturally, the topic was about the divorce. Following the discovery of the affair trip, Tom and Miranda had been discussing divorce. It seemed they had come to a resolution. Miranda admitted to the affair and agreed to the divorce. As a result, Tom was going to demand compensation from Miranda. And she had agreed to pay. So, what did the affair partner say? Yes, he was a colleague of mine. Miranda's affair partner turned out to be Tom's colleague. Moreover, they met at the wedding. Tom had demanded compensation from the colleague at work. He agreed to pay and resigned from the company. I was utterly speechless. Looking at Miranda, she quickly averted her gaze. Well, divorce can't be helped, I suppose. The divorce matter is just for your information, but there's also something about you suing Miranda? Oh, that. That's none of Tom's concern. I smiled, and Tom tilted his head. As Miranda left, I watched her back and whispered to myself. Doesn't something about the story seem off? Huh? No, it's not different at all. But you said something about me also being responsible, right? The story just wasn't adding up. So, I decided to ask Tom for more details. That's when an unexpected truth came to light. According to Tom, due to the affair trip incident, Tom and Miranda were living separately. During this time, Miranda called Tom. During a phone call, Miranda tearfully told Tom that I was sued by Mom and her company. Since we're still married, Tom also has to take responsibility. Tom was shocked. Miranda claimed, my mom got fired, so she said to pay up. The company says to compensate for her mistake. What kind of cheap fiction was that? I listened to the rest of Tom's story with a grimace. Miranda told me this story, so I came to ask about it, but is that not the case? I shook my head in response to Tom's question. That's completely wrong. The truth was Miranda causing a scene at my company. It led to the company suing her for business interference. And because I had to resign, I was demanding compensation for that reason. Hearing this, Tom's demeanor changed dramatically. Even the usually gentle Tom raised his voice against Miranda. What do you mean? All of this is because of your selfish actions. No. That's not it. Miranda started her usual excuses. All baseless accusations. While it's true I resigned from my company, I hadn't done anything to cause trouble. Miranda laid out such a story. Then turned to Sean for support. Dad, you believe me, right? You're on my side, aren't you? No, I can't be on your side. Huh? Unlike this woman, you and I are blood related, right? Miranda leaned in. Meanwhile, Sean turned away as he answered. About that, I've been thinking of ending our parent-child relationship with you. Huh? What are you talking about? A parent and child are always related. That's true for biological parents. You're my adopted child, so if we dissolve the adoption, that's it. Miranda was speechless at Sean's words. In truth, Miranda wasn't Sean's biological child. Sean's first wife had a newborn girl. It was Miranda. Of course, Sean wasn't the father. It was another man. Yet, Sean had wanted to be Miranda's father and thus married his ex-wife. However, the marriage eventually failed. As a result, Sean took in Miranda to take care of her in place of his struggling ex-wife. Miranda is an adult now, so maybe it's time to dissolve the adoption? Wait a minute. What about the lawsuit then? Am I going to court alone? The business interference and taking Kelly's job, all of it was your doing. You're an adult, so take responsibility. As soon as Sean said that, Miranda began to cry on the spot. She cried like a child. I can't. I have a child and can't afford to pay anything. I can't handle a lawsuit. Crying won't help you. Everyone here is legally a stranger to you. Miranda sobbed uncontrollably. It seemed my words didn't even reach her anymore. Afterward, Tom and Miranda divorced. Furthermore, Sean pressed Miranda for annulment. Naturally, Miranda refused in a last act of defiance. As a result, Sean filed for annulment mediation. If Miranda continued to refuse, it would lead to an annulment lawsuit. Either way, Miranda would not benefit. Moreover, Miranda was sued by both me and the company. There was virtually no escape for her. In the end, after losing all the lawsuits, Miranda ended up in debt. She had to pay for the damages to the company and compensation to me. It amounted to a headache-inducing sum. On top of that, she also had to pay alimony to Tom. With no other options available, Miranda chose to work in a well-paying night job. Additionally, Tom gained custody of Miranda's child. Miranda couldn't see her child and had to work hard to make ends meet. On the other hand, after everything was settled, I was finally able to hold my first grandchild. This was all thanks to Tom's consideration. Sean and I are nothing but grateful to Tom. Incidentally, after the divorce, Tom had a DNA test done on the child. Needless to say, the child was Tom's. Hearing that was a relief. Considering it was Miranda, there was a possibility the child could have been someone else's. That was my biggest fear. Grow up to be a good child. I whispered gently. How a child turns out is influenced by the way they are raised. In that sense, I have a lot to reflect on. So, if Miranda apologizes, I intend to forgive her. And at that time, I would also like to apologize to Miranda. Sorry for being an imperfect mother. With these thoughts, I held Miranda and Tom's child in my arms.